My childhood sweetheart carried the transfer girl on his back to the school clinic, leaving me behind. Still bleeding, I won the competition, but I lost him. Afterward, he apologized to me. I smiled and said it didn't matter. I didn't love him anymore. If nothing unexpected happened, he would never see me again for the rest of his life. Later, he hiked across 7 mountains, yet still couldn't find the person he had once lost. Chapter 1. The competition field was buzzing with excitement. When Diego ran toward me, I was momentarily stunned, and then my whole heart began trembling. We had been in a cold war for almost 2 weeks. We were childhood sweethearts who had grown up together, so close we had shared the same blanket and gone through everything side by side. Since we first learned to speak, whether playing house, getting into fights, or playing games, we were always on the same team, never apart. Our relationship was so close that both our families naturally treated us as a future couple. Our parents often gathered together, joking that when we got married someday, they would hand over all the family business to us and happily travel around the world. For that dream of traveling, my mom and his mom had already planned out all the countries they wanted to visit. Everyone believed we would end up together. Even I believed that. So when we had that argument 2 weeks ago, I thought Diego would give in like he always did. But unexpectedly, he ignored me for 2 whole weeks. Under the blazing sun on the sports field, I watched the boy running toward me. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and his usually calm face showed panic and anxiety. This was the first time I had ever seen him like this. The rubber track pressed painfully against my calves. Thinking about the 2 weeks of silence, I felt wronged and reached out my hand to him. "Hold me. Take me to the hospital." Before I could finish the last few words, Diego had already bent down, picked up the transfer student Robin who was beside me, and ran quickly toward the school clinic, without sparing me even a glance. I froze in place, my raised hands stiff in the air. There were many events at the sports meet, and the crowd was roaring with noise. The boy I had loved for more than 10 years carried another girl who had been injured alongside me, and left. Chapter 2. Robin was a transfer student who had just arrived this semester. She had excellent grades and strong character out of 9 subjects. She could score full marks in 8. Everyone knew about her acts of bravery. Most importantly, she was beautiful. Her only shortcomings were her poor family background and her somewhat introverted personality. When Robin first transferred in, Diego and I were still desk mates, and her seat was arranged behind us. I liked girls who were both beautiful and hardworking. I was the one who helped her get familiar with the campus step by step, encouraged her to bravely give speeches on stage, and even drove away the school bullies who bothered her. Back then, Diego would even get jealous because I cared too much about Robin. How can someone go without friends forever? Sitting behind him on his bicycle, I poked his back. When I go to the bathroom without bringing pads, I can't exactly ask you to deliver them, right? And you can't help me discuss bra sizes either. Don't worry, between you and me, we're still number 1. In my heart, Diego was my boyfriend, and Robin was just a close classmate. Diego had truly loved me. The first time I got my period, I thought I was dying. He had blushed as he went to the convenience store to buy sanitary pads for me. I had an outgoing and impulsive personality, which meant I offended quite a few people. Every time, he was the one who helped me deal with the trouble. He used to ruffle my hair dismissively, mocking me for my temper, saying that with such a fiery personality, no one would want to marry me when I grew up. "Natalie, why don't you beg me? Maybe I'll agree to be your boyfriend." Chapter 3. I didn't know when Diego and Robin got close. I hadn't even noticed when his bicycle's back seat stopped carrying me, or when he stopped walking home with me after school. Robin's English pronunciation wasn't good. He wanted to help correct it. Robin's mother was sick. He wanted to help take her to the hospital. At some point, the one feeling jealous and hurt changed from him to me. I became the one silently watching his back as he walked away. No, not just his. I was watching the backs of the 2 of them. One day, Robin gently poked my shoulder and asked cautiously, "Natalie, can I switch seats with you? You're too tall, I can't see from the back." I didn't answer. I looked at Diego. There was no emotion in his eyes. I noticed his hair was slightly shorter than before, and Robin had also gotten a new hairstyle. On the day we changed seats, it was Diego who helped Robin move her desk. As I carried my own desk away from him, he glanced at me, as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he swallowed all his words. Diego wasn't someone who talked much, and Robin was quiet too, but whenever she asked questions, he would patiently explain everything to her, even handing over neatly organized notes. Sometimes, when Robin was happy about her improved grades, he would quietly curl his lips into a faint smile. In front of my eyes, it all felt like a coming-of-age romance film. Every little moment between the male and female leads unfolding right before me. Diego and I grew further and further apart, so far that I began to feel overwhelming jealousy, to the point that I couldn't even bring myself to like Robin anymore. During a volleyball match in PE class, Robin's team happened to play against ours. She had gone to an ordinary school before and had never really been exposed to this kind of sport. For the first time, my competitive instinct flared. Ball after ball, she failed to receive a single one. She lost every round, and even fell at one point, scraping her knee on the ground. Natalie, did I do something to upset you? In front of everyone, Robin looked at me with teary eyes. I treat you as my best friend. I know your family is wealthy and powerful, but I've never expected anything from you. Why are you targeting me? The people around us could all sense my mood and began whispering, wondering if Robin had somehow offended me. I was the main player of the class volleyball team, but I had never made someone lose so badly before. That was when Diego showed up. He helped Robin to the side and casually tossed the volleyball in his hand. The smile at the corner of his lips was all too familiar to me. It was the smile he wore when he was about to crush someone. Robin's not very good at this. I'll play with you instead. And so, during that PE class, he completely destroyed me. Chapter 4. The sports field was still roaring with noise. I limped back to the classroom. It was empty. Only one boy who had injured himself and didn't want to participate in the sports meet was lying there asleep. When he saw me come in, Sebastian lazily lifted his eyelids and glanced at me. Oh, trouble with your childhood, sweetheart? I didn't answer. I looked toward the two desks in the front row. The surfaces were clean, the books stacked neatly. They looked well matched. I wasn't wearing shoes. The scrape stretched from my calf all the way to the top of my foot. Blood smeared everywhere. Because I didn't want to see Diego and Robin, I refused to go to the school clinic. I lowered my head and gently blew on the wound. Tears fell onto it without warning. The person I had loved for more than 10 years abandoned me today. When Diego entered the classroom, I had just applied iodine to my wound. He looked at my leg, his brows slightly furrowed, as if he had only just noticed I was injured. I saw his lips move several times, but not a single word came out. It wasn't until I slung my backpack over my shoulder and was about to leave that he grabbed onto the strap. Why didn't you go get it treated? He looked at me thoughtfully. Stop making a scene. Robin has been feeling really guilty about you since you got hurt and didn't go to the clinic. She thinks she's done something wrong to you, so she's that kind. Huh. Maybe the smile at the corner of my lips was too sarcastic. Because Diego's expression darkened, I pulled my bag strap out of his grip. Then, as if remembering something, I turned back, opened my drawer, and took out a box. I thought about what happened during that volleyball class. Because I couldn't beat him, I ended up falling to the ground. My skin scraped raw. Back then, we hadn't fallen out yet. He had taken me to the school clinic and asked why I disliked Robin. I remember you never cared much about winning or losing. Even for the sake of the team, you wouldn't go that hard, making it so the other side couldn't even receive a single ball. Natalie, Robin doesn't come from a good family. We should be more tolerant toward her. I've always been easygoing. It felt like I couldn't even remember how I felt back then. But at this moment, I suddenly felt like letting go. I handed the gold-embossed box to Diego. I wanted to smile, but I just couldn't. I'm taking leave next week. Happy birthday in advance. I had never once missed Diego's birthday before. In the place where I couldn't see, his expression changed abruptly. He stepped forward and blocked my path. Natalie, what are you doing? You promised. Diego, that was in the past. He once said that whoever married me in the future, he would break their legs. Chapter 5. I've never had any grand ambitions. My family is wealthy. My parents are open-minded, and they've never really placed any expectations on me. The only thing I had ever planned was to study hard, go to the same university as Diego, and then return home together to inherit the family business, so our parents could fulfill their dream of traveling the world. I had never once imagined being separated from Diego. When my dad found out I wanted to change my university major, he was so shocked he thought I had lost my mind and almost dragged me to the hospital. There's no special reason. I just don't like this major anymore. I'm switching to something else. The one who liked bioengineering was Diego, not me. As long as I wasn't breaking the law. My parents basically let me do whatever I wanted. Once I made my stance clear, changing my major was nothing more than a trivial matter to them. That night, I had already gone to bed when someone knocked on my door. I thought it was my parents, so I casually said come in, but when I turned my head, I saw Diego standing by my bed. His face dark. My birthday, you'll come, right? He sounded uncertain. He wanted to sit in my favorite chair like he always did, but seemed to sense my reluctance. Does it matter whether I go or not? It's all the same people we usually see. Nothing different. I turned on the light and only then noticed the injuries on Diego's face. I wanted to ask about them, but found it strangely difficult to say the words. During the time he had been getting closer to Robin, he had also been pushing me further and further away. Diego didn't expect me to be this cold. You're not even going to ask me? It's because of Robin, isn't it? There was no need to ask. He nodded. Her father treats her and her mother badly. He drinks and gambles. When I went over, they were arguing. I couldn't stand it, so I got into a fight with her dad. And why are you telling me this? If possible, I hope you won't target her at school anymore. Robin is really pitiful compared to you. She doesn't even have a proper home. I threw the medicine he handed me straight into the trash and laughed. So now it sounds like her misfortune is somehow my fault. Don't forget, when she was being bullied before, I was the one who stood up for her. That was also the reason Diego and I fell into a cold war. After the volleyball incident, no matter what Robin said to me, I ignored her. She insisted on apologizing, but I tore up the apology letter she wrote with a cold expression. Diego said I had gone too far, but I didn't think I was wrong. I didn't like her at all, because I tore up her letter. Robin felt terrible and wandered outside school alone. She ended up getting cornered in an alley by a group of thugs. Without thinking, I rushed over. Diego followed behind me. I saw with my own eyes as he pulled Robin into his arms. Shielding her, what should have hit her instead landed on his back. And me. Diego grabbed Robin and ran. I was left surrounded by a group of thugs. In desperation, I smashed the computer at a shop's cashier counter. And that's how I ended up being taken to the police station. Just as Diego later explained, I had been trained with private coaches since I was young. I knew better than Robin how to protect myself. And just like that, Diego and I parted on bad terms. Chapter 6. I really didn't go to Diego's birthday. Robin went, wearing the dress I had once given her, the one I gave her as a welcome gift. In the photos my classmates posted online, Diego stood in the middle of the crowd, while Robin leaned against his shoulder, her cheeks flushed, smiling gently and gracefully, surrounded like the center of attention. The adults still hadn't noticed anything unusual between us. That night, Diego's mom came to my house. Natalie didn't come to the birthday party today. Auntie figured you must be sick. How are you feeling now? Better? My parents weren't home, so the housekeeper and I received her. Diego's parents had always been very kind to me, especially his mom. Every year on Diego's birthday, she would prepare 2 gifts, one for him, and one for me. This year, Auntie got you 2 pairs of high heels. Our Natalie is all grown up now, you should have more stilettos. Diego was right about one thing, I had grown up surrounded by love. Whether it was my own parents or his, they had always treated me well. I lacked neither love nor money, but I knew very clearly, I didn't owe Robin anything. Her misfortune had nothing to do with me. Thank you, Auntie. I hugged her affectionately as usual. When I take over the family company in the future, I'll let my mom travel with you and make your dream of traveling the world come true. No matter what happened between me and Diego, I was grateful for how they had treated me. My grades had always been among the top in school. After the midterm exams, I had improved a few more ranks. Diego and Robin still sat in front of me. The difference was that sometimes Diego would turn around and look at me. Natalie, want to go home together after school today? It had been a very, very long time since we last went home together. Robin, sitting beside him, smiled and spoke up. Yes, Natalie, there's construction near the school recently, And there have been robberies. It's dangerous for you to go home alone. I specifically asked Diego to walk you home. I never thought there would come a day when my childhood sweetheart would walk me home because of another girl. I quickly packed my books. No need. I have a driver picking me up. I refused their kindness. But unexpectedly, after school, Diego and Robin were still waiting at the gate, as if they were determined to escort me. I walked past them, about to leave, but Robin suddenly grabbed my arm. Natalie, I know you're mad at me. I've thought about it. These days I've been too close to Diego, and we neglected you. So that's why you're upset. Don't worry. I'll give him back to you. I didn't understand why she was crying. I hadn't even done anything. Yet she was sobbing like she'd been deeply wronged. My mom was right. Someone like me, who grew up surrounded by wealth, couldn't always understand the ugliness of people. Diego is a living person, not some toy between us. He can spend time with whoever he wants. Don't make it sound like I'm bullying you. I shook her hand off. Unfortunately, she fell straight to the ground. Chapter 7. Diego and I argued again. Just apologize to her, okay? I'm begging you. It was the first time I had ever heard Diego speak so humbly to anyone. I was the daughter of a wealthy family, but wasn't he also a rich young master himself? Robin really has it hard. After school, she still has to help her mom with work. She's the same age as us, but she doesn't even have a basic life. I'm begging you, you have everything. Just apologize to her. She's always felt guilty toward you. I only looked at him coldly. At that moment, I understood more clearly than ever. Diego and I had never actually talked about love. Everyone assumed we would get married someday. But in reality, we weren't even officially together. In the end, I was the one who drove Diego away. I sulked in my room for a long time. Fortunately, the school I had applied to finally got back to me. I would be able to enroll there smoothly after graduating high school. After receiving the confirmation, a large part of my anger dissipated. All these years, I had only ever hung out with Diego. I didn't even have any other friends. So I went alone to a barbecue stall and ordered a whole table of food to treat myself. Tisk. Where's your childhood sweetheart? It was that troublemaker who did nothing but sleep all day again, Sebastian. If you're here to pick a fight while there are so many people around, I suggest you think twice, I said calmly while eating, glancing at him. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind reporting you to your dad. The confidence my family gave me meant I was never afraid of anyone, including Sebastian. Sebastian was the complete opposite of Diego and me. We had always been well behaved, always aiming for first place, never settling for second. We had personality, but never caused trouble for our families. We were the classic model kids in high society. Sebastian was different, infamous for being a delinquent, a typical good-for-nothing. I'd heard he had even stabbed someone before, and his father had to pull countless strings just to keep him out of serious trouble. You make it sound like I'm some kind of villain. Sebastian casually picked up one of my skewers. Miss Goody Two-Shoes, can't it be that, as a classmate, I saw you sitting here alone and thought it wasn't safe, so I came to protect you? Chapter 8. I think Sebastian has lost his mind. Out of nowhere, he insisted on moving to sit next to me, claiming that being next to the top student would help him improve. Yes, while Diego was busy worrying about Robin. His grades had already slipped out of the top 10, while I firmly held first place. Sebastian, at least, had the sense not to drag me down. Every day in class, he was either sleeping or playing games with his head down. He didn't participate in any group activities either. During self-study, I slapped the group assignment onto his desk. You'd better finish all of this. Otherwise, go back to wherever you came from. I had no interest in caring about classmates. The last person I cared about was already being cared for by my childhood sweetheart. Besides, someone like Sebastian didn't need my concern anyway. Sebastian looked like he had just heard a joke. Resting his head on one hand, he lazily lifted his eyelids. Miss Princess, do you think this is your house? You can just tell me to move and I'll move? What is this, school bullying? I couldn't be bothered with him, but I also didn't want my parents to see my group average ranking at the bottom. Under my cold stare, Sebastian scratched his head in defeat. Fine, I'll do it. It's just a few questions, right? He clicked his tongue. Seriously, Miss Princess, you're already the only daughter in a rich family. And you're still working this hard. When you take over the family business, what are the rest of us supposed to do? Have some mercy on the other rich kids, will you? I ignored him and continued writing my homework. Suddenly, I felt someone watching me. When I looked up, my eyes met Diego's from the front row. We stared at each other, neither of us speaking. Strangely enough, I had gradually stopped caring about him. I rarely even paid attention to what he and Robin were doing in class anymore. You don't need to come help me anymore. Robin's voice pulled his attention away. My mom has been discharged from the hospital. She's recovering well now, so I don't need to help at the shop anymore. You don't have to go either. With Diego's help, Robin's mother had quit her job and opened a barbecue restaurant. Some time ago, she had fainted due to poor health, and the two of them had spent quite a lot of time helping at the shop. When it came to Robin, Diego was always gentle. Okay. Chapter 9. Rumors started spreading that Diego and Robin were secretly dating. When Sebastian found out, he laughed, clearly having no intention of doing his assignments. So your childhood sweetheart ditched you? Huh? What do you say, want to date me instead? I looked at him like he was an idiot. I had loved Diego. That innocent, youthful love had been hidden in our everyday interactions. Back then, I looked forward to every morning we went to school together, and cherished every sunset we walked home side by side. But that love had disappeared. I didn't even know where it had gone. What surprised me, though, was that Diego came to my house that night. You saw the posts, right? He hurried to explain. She was drunk and couldn't stand properly. I just helped her for a moment. Other than that, we didn't have any contact at all. I remembered it was about the photos from his birthday party, where Robin had leaned gently against his shoulder. I replied sincerely. I saw them. You two look well matched. Diego looked at me quietly. I was just helping her. I'm not secretly dating her. I know. Diego was different from me and Sebastian. He had big ambitions. He wanted to become a biologist. And all these years, he had been steadily working toward that future. He might care a lot about Robin, but not to the point of starting a relationship during school. He was more rational than I was. That's good. Diego let out a sigh of relief. Once her mom's shop stabilizes, and we finish the college entrance exams, we'll go to Huaqing University together. I'm not going. Why? We agreed. I didn't tell him. After graduating high school, I would be going to an Ivy League university to study business. Chapter 10. Diego seemed to notice the distance growing between us. The next day, when he and Robin walked into the classroom, someone teased, "Here comes the couple," for the first time. Diego lost his temper in class. After that, no one dared to mention the rumors of them dating again. Do you think he suddenly regrets it? At lunch, Sebastian sat down across from me and refused to leave. That guy probably realized he gave up something big for something small. Now he's come to his senses and wants to go back. Turns out he still prefers the bigger prize and wants a second chance. Just eat your food. How about you date me instead? That'll completely shut down his hopes. He picked up a chicken drumstick from his bowl and placed it into mine. Worst case, I'll stop dragging you down. Before he could even finish, a commotion broke out in the cafeteria. A few rich, mean girls from school dumped food directly over Robin's head. Back then, Diego was protecting you like crazy. I thought he really liked you. Turns out he just pitied your poor background. Bet you guys didn't know, Robin's mom used to be the other woman. Got pregnant trying to force her way in, but ended up having a girl. Her current dad is just the guy who took responsibility. The surroundings erupted into noise and whispers. Please, stop. Robin's tears fell one after another. Some classmates couldn't stand it and spoke up for her. Robin just comes from a poor family. It's not like she did anything wrong. What right do you have to bully her? Exactly. You say her mom was the other woman. Who says that's true? I could just as easily say your dad's a kept man. What right? Because I feel like it. I can do whatever I want. I'm warning you. Robin, Diego isn't your boyfriend, so you'd better stay away from him. At that age, whether boys or girls, emotions, both kindness and cruelty, were always intense and extreme. The farce only ended when the cafeteria staff came out to scold them. Diego had gone to his father's company at noon. By the time he returned in the afternoon and learned that Robin had been bullied, there was a hint of something unnatural in the way he looked at me. I'll go deal with those people. Anyone who bullied her, I won't let a single one of them off. He sat in the front row and turned back to say it. Sebastian came back from playing basketball, drenched in sweat, and dropped into the seat next to me, spinning a basketball on his finger. I shot him an annoyed look. Can you stop showing off? You're distracting me from studying. Sebastian stopped immediately, pulling a bunch of tissues from my drawer to wipe his sweat. Relax. One sheet at a time, I'll pay you. Might as well help you live out your dream of being a ruthless businesswoman. Then he actually pulled out his phone and transferred me money. Just as I took out my phone to accept it, Diego suddenly grabbed it and refunded the money Sebastian had sent. His face was tense. I remember you weren't like this before. You've changed. Changed? You mean I didn't step in to help her in the cafeteria even though I was there? Diego didn't deny it. How ridiculous. Why should I help her? Helping someone is a choice, not an obligation, and not helping is my right. You have no right to judge me. I zipped up my bag and stood up. Sebastian thought I was heading home. The water he had just taken into his mouth nearly spilled out. You can't win the argument. So you're calling for backup? It's not like I can't speak for myself. Cut the nonsense. I kicked the leg of his desk lightly. Got hands? Then carry. Chapter 11. I didn't move seats because of Diego. It was simply because Sebastian was dragging me down too much. I was the top student in the entire grade. Yet he managed to pull our group average all the way to the bottom. I was too embarrassed to face anyone. So I dragged him to the front row and confiscated his phone during class. At first, Sebastian resisted fiercely, but eventually, he stopped struggling and shamelessly begged me to tutor him. Just as Diego had said, those girls who bullied Robin didn't end well. Some were expelled, and in more serious cases, even their families' businesses were affected. He was protecting a flower growing stubbornly out of the mud, unwilling to let her suffer any injustice, and not allowing anyone to look down on her. Soon, Robin received financial support from Diego's family. That incident in the cafeteria made Diego finally choose Robin. He stopped wavering between me, his childhood sweetheart, and her, and instead firmly held a grand coming-of-age ceremony for Robin. He was telling everyone that this girl was under his protection, and anyone who dared to bully her in the future had better think twice. If you like, I can throw you a party like that too, guarantee it'll be 10 times better than his. Sebastian was being ridiculous in front of me again. As for me, I don't even need you to be my girlfriend anymore. Just call me Dad, and I'll make sure my daughter gets the most extravagant coming-of-age ceremony ever. And then I reported him straight to his father. What I didn't expect was that Sebastian didn't come to class the next day, or even the entire following week. You're worried about him? Diego walked behind me. He's not a good person. Everyone in our circle says he stabbed someone a few years ago. Don't tell me you haven't heard that. I sent a leave request to the homeroom teacher and started packing books into my bag. Diego interrupted me. Have you ever looked into his family? His parents each do their own thing. If it weren't for the grandparents protecting him, he wouldn't have made it this far. I suggest you don't get too involved in his life. A person's environment shapes who they become. Growing up in such a dark family, what kind of personality do you think comes out of that? I found him laughable. Just then, Robin returned. The smile on my face became even more mocking. Really? Then tell me, what kind of person comes from a dark family? Diego's expression changed instantly. Chapter 12. I found Sebastian at the hospital. Thanks to you. I'm feeling great all over. One of his legs was in a cast. One hand hooked up to an four. He lounged there carelessly, eating an apple, his phone still displaying a victory screen from a game. I'm sorry. Before this, I had never really looked into his family. I thought my casual remark, "Uncle Sebastian told me to call him Dad," would at most earn him a scolding from his father. Sebastian tossed the apple core into the trash. What are you apologizing for? Just do me a favor, don't go telling everyone my dad beat me half to death. And I'll be grateful enough. Want to know why? He looked at me casually. It's nothing I can't say. One of my dad's illegitimate sons got out of line, so I taught him a lesson. Maybe I went too far. My dad got pissed and beat me up, but don't worry. My grandfather already dealt with him too, so we're even. I had heard rumors about how chaotic his parents' lives were, but hearing it from their own son felt completely different. What's with that look? Sebastian smirked, nudging me with his good leg. Plenty of people have tattled on me since I was a kid. My dad didn't beat me because of you. Disappointed? I rolled my eyes at him, right in front of his stunned expression. I pulled out a stack of papers from my bag, 13 test papers in total. You've got to be kidding me. Natalie, I'm practically crippled and you're still torturing me? Don't worry, even if you really were crippled, I'd still wheel you into the exam hall. Chapter 13. A broken bone takes 100 days to heal. Sebastian was discharged from the hospital after a week. With the college entrance exam approaching, he returned to school with a cast still on his leg. Shameless as ever, he handed me the task of getting his meals every day. As your desk mate and as your PE rep, you helping your injured classmate get food isn't too much to ask, right? Not too much? Not too much at all. Don't you have a housekeeper at home? I tossed the lunchbox onto his desk. Eat. You won't die from it. Everyone's out to get me, he muttered dramatically. Sebastian really did finish everything I brought him. Sometimes I deliberately got him huge portions, and he would still eat it all, complaining the whole time. I found myself caring more and more about his grades. After every mock exam, I was always the first to run to the ranking board. Seeing Sebastian improve again made me even happier than seeing myself still in first place. We need to talk. Diego suddenly came to find me and pulled me out of the classroom without asking. Don't you think you've been getting too close to Sebastian? Whether he studies or where he ends up in the future, that's not something you should be concerned about. I cut him off impatiently. And what exactly should I be concerned about? Diego, I have the right to choose who I'm friends with. Friends? Diego let out a mocking laugh. You think of him as a friend, do you think he sees it that way? From the beginning, his intentions weren't pure. He never wanted to just be your friend. He was giving me a headache. I rubbed my temples. Instead of worrying about my relationship with Sebastian, I think you should pay more attention to your girlfriend's feelings. Robin had been watching us the whole time. Her eyes, once like a frightened deer's, were now brimming with tears. As if she might cry at any moment, Sebastian hobbled out on his injured leg, looking annoyed. You really are born to be a capitalist. Why don't you just rob me? You're charging me even for food now? And you want to go eat barbecue? Do you even remember I have a broken leg? Diego hadn't even reached Robin yet when he heard that and immediately turned back. Where are you going with Sebastian? Chapter 14. This was the first time I celebrated Sebastian's birthday. The place was a barbecue stall on the west side of the city. Sebastian had to avoid spicy food, so he had a cake in front of him, while I had a pile of skewers. You've got no conscience, Sebastian commented. Honestly, this time he really wronged me. I had asked the owner to make his skewers without any spice. Sebastian's mouth twitched. You're really considerate. For some reason, seeing him like this made me extremely happy. But the moment I turned my head and saw Diego, my smile disappeared. He walked straight toward me and grabbed my arm, trying to pull me away. What the hell is wrong with you? I tried to shake him off but couldn't. Diego, have you lost your mind? Am I the crazy one? Or are you? Diego shouted at me. Wasn't the last incident enough to scare you? The people who surrounded you and Robin before were from these barbecue stalls nearby, drunk troublemakers. Coming out alone at night like this, do you have any idea how worried I get? How strange. When he abandoned me and ran off with Robin before, he didn't seem this worried. You don't need to worry about me, even if something happens. I don't need you to protect me. I was truly angry. It had taken me so long to get through the time when he abandoned me, and now he was openly trying to drag me away like this. I sat back down across from Sebastian. Didn't you say you had a mouth? Then yell at him. Sebastian had been about to say something, but my expression made him laugh instead. What I didn't expect was that this barbecue stall belonged to Robin's mother. When Robin came out carrying skewers, I immediately wanted to leave. Nothing had gone right today, and it only got worse. Robin's father stumbled in from somewhere, reeking of alcohol. The moment he entered, he smashed a bottle, then rushed inside and started fighting with Robin's mother. Diego couldn't stand it and rushed in, getting into a scuffle with him. I was just about to move Sebastian somewhere safe when the fight spilled toward us. Just as Robin's father's stick was about to hit Sebastian, I yanked him out of the way. I didn't manage to dodge in time. The stick struck my shoulder instead. Chapter 15. The sound of police sirens echoed through the night sky. I was the one who called the police. Everyone else had injuries of varying degrees. The only thing I clearly remembered was how Sebastian had gone completely mad, dragging Robin's father and beating him. You've fallen for him, haven't you? Diego's head was wrapped in layers of bandages. His face was pale as he looked at me. In a moment like that, so dangerous, you chose to protect Sebastian. That's because he's important to you. I neither confirmed nor denied it. Diego's expression slowly twisted with pain. Then what about me? Natalie, you don't want me anymore, do you? I protected Sebastian. Yes, but I didn't abandon you or Robin, even though you're people I don't like. I said expressionlessly, but I clearly remember how helpless I felt when you and Robin left me behind. I didn't abandon you. I took Robin to safety and then went back for you. I cut him off. Diego, you always compare me to Robin. You say she's poorer, more fragile. So you protect her in everything. I was born fortunate. The worst hardship I've ever experienced is probably just drinking bitter iced coffee. So when something happens, your instinct is to protect her. You stand up for her, throw her birthday parties, plan her future. Diego's face grew worse with every word. I don't have those kinds of feelings for her. It's not love. Natalie, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I smiled faintly. Diego, I did love you once. I loved you very, very much. But that was in the past. That young love died, little by little, in all the moments I was overlooked. Chapter 16. I don't really remember how Diego left the hospital that day. I only remember him stumbling, bumping into a woman who had come to see a doctor, not even saying sorry, leaving as if he were running away. I didn't tell anyone about changing my university plans. It wasn't until Diego received his admission letter that he came to my house, full of excitement, holding it up to show me. Natalie, look, I did it. Just like we planned, we can finally start dating. But the moment he saw my suitcase, he stopped speaking. I was going abroad, and I had never told him. It was only then that he truly understood. I didn't love him anymore. I didn't even want him in my life anymore. Stop messing around. I'll apologize, okay? Diego tried to pull me into an embrace. We promised we'd take over our family's businesses together. We'd conquer the business world together. You don't like Robin, I won't contact her anymore, okay? I've already deleted her. Natalie, A sharp car horn cut through his words. Sebastian sat in the car. Miss Princess, if you don't get moving, you're going to miss your flight. I got into his car and waved back at my parents. You're going abroad and didn't even tell me? Guess I'm not your friend. Huh? Natalie, you've really got some nerve. I smiled. Don't tell me you're coming abroad with me. Of course he wasn't. Sebastian's grandfather had passed away. His parents' illegitimate children were eyeing the inheritance. His family needed him to take over. He couldn't leave. And he wouldn't. My university life turned out pretty good. Sebastian rarely came to visit me. I knew he must be exhausted, juggling school while dealing with all those people. There was no way he had it easy. But I was glad about one thing. Diego didn't come to bother me. Later, I found out that Sebastian had been scheming behind the scenes, deliberately keeping Diego too busy to come after me. During holidays, I liked going to see the snow. Skiing became my favorite activity. Unfortunately, I took a bad fall and broke a bone. Sebastian showed up in front of me, furious, unshaven, looking nothing like some domineering CEO. Sebastian, you look awful. He cursed me for being heartless. Chapter 17, Extra Sebastian. My parents were in a business marriage. Between the two of them, I couldn't even count how many illegitimate children they had. My mother loved her sons. My father loved his daughters. Only me, I was like someone who had sprung out of a rock, belonging nowhere. The only time my parents would come together was when I got into trouble, just to clean up my mess. So I did everything I could to get their attention. I had heard the name Natalie since I was very young. It always came paired with another name, Diego. My grandfather would constantly compare me to them. If only your grades were better than theirs. Or if you could marry a girl like Natalie in the future, your grandmother and I would finally be at ease. I scoffed at that. I didn't care to compete with Diego. I was already outstanding. And I cared even less about becoming husband and wife with Natalie. Compared to her, I was far more interested in the girl practicing volleyball at the neighboring school. I had been watching her for half a month straight. Stop staring. If you've got guts, go chase her. My desk mate nudged me with his elbow. Back then, I was only in my first year of middle school, and somehow, I actually went to the convenience store, bought a bottle of water, and walked toward her, full of excitement. She smiled brightly. Thanks. You're welcome. I just wanted you to go easy on your opponents. The moment I said that, I wanted to slap myself. She let out a soft laugh, weighing the half-empty bottle of water in her hand. Got it. I won't make them lose too badly. She smiled, and for the first time, I felt what it meant for my heart to race. Later, I squeezed my way into becoming a volunteer. Every day after class, I carried 2 boxes of water to the training ground, handing them out to everyone else first, before slowly making my way to her. I'm not going to that Natalie birthday party. I coldly rejected my grandfather's suggestion. You could beat me to death, and I still wouldn't go. That day after school, I went to the training ground as usual, carrying water, but she wasn't there. Her teammates told me she had gone to celebrate her birthday. In that instant, I wanted to beat myself to death. By the time I hurriedly changed into a suit and tied a tie before rushing to the venue, Natalie had already left, together with Diego. My mom and your mom are seriously over the top. What kind of 12-year-old gets such an extravagant birthday party? Yeah, that's why I'll give you a simpler birthday next time. Really? Then I want a strawberry cake. Really? I'll make it myself. So her name really was Natalie, and she really did have a childhood sweetheart named Diego. The moment I learned her name, my crush was already doomed. But like every boy experiencing his first love, I couldn't control how much I liked her. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to get closer, just a little closer. I even imagined telling her that I wasn't actually a bad kid, that I did care about studying, that I only acted out because I wanted my parents' attention. Maybe then, she would be willing to be my friend, just a friend. But life seemed to enjoy playing cruel jokes on me. The woman my father kept outside grew increasingly arrogant and actually brought her illegitimate child in front of my grandparents. My grandmother was so enraged by her that she suffered a brain hemorrhage and died. I lost my mind. I stabbed that woman 3 times. I stabbed my father several times too. After that, my reputation became even worse. I became like a rat in the gutter, no longer daring to hope that Natalie would ever look at me. Chapter 18. During the high school entrance exams, I performed normally and somehow ended up in the same class as Natalie. My grandfather laughed and said our ancestors must be blessing me. The distance between Natalie and me grew closer, but at the same time, I could see more clearly than ever just how close she and Diego were. I figured, maybe that's just how it is. I couldn't exactly kidnap her and take her home, so I kept acting like I did in middle school, slacking off. Not studying, not behaving, just to get my mom to pay more attention to me. But my mom's son was even worse than me. I was just pretending. He was genuinely rotten. My mom poured most of her energy into him. Only then did I realize, when a mother truly loves a child, she doesn't just step in when they make mistakes. She also tries everything she can to guide them onto the right path. My mom had never guided me. I laughed, and then I cried. I was afraid my grandfather would leave me, just like my grandmother did. There had to be at least one person in this world who loved me, right? It felt like, from that moment on, fate began to tilt in my favor. The arrival of Robin, the transfer student, completely shattered the closeness between Natalie and Diego. The more Diego cared about Robin, the happier I felt. But soon, I couldn't laugh anymore. When they were surrounded by a group of thugs, Diego protected Robin so carefully. I had never seen Natalie look that wronged before. She was supposed to be vibrant, proud, not helpless and pitiful like that. I ran toward her as fast as I could, trying to save her, but it seemed like she didn't need me. She was smart. After smashing the shop's computer, she ended up at the police station. Later, during the sports meet, I watched Natalie's entire match. When she got injured, I was the first to rush forward. She reached out her hands toward Diego. I stopped in my tracks. In my heart, I prayed, Diego, I'm begging you, don't let her down. But in Diego's eyes, Robin's injury seemed like the most important thing in the world. I ran to the school clinic to get medicine. I got back to the classroom before Natalie. placed the iodine on her desk, and pretended to sleep. I hated my stupid mouth. The first thing I said when I opened it was, "Tisk. Your childhood sweetheart ditched you." Huh? That was when I realized Diego would never turn back. But I also realized this was fate showing me mercy. Even a rat in the gutter, if it looks up, can still see the bright moon in the sky. From that moment on, I threw myself completely into Natalie's world. After my grandfather passed away, my world was left with only Natalie. She thought I was exhausted from the internal family conflicts. But someone like me had long grown used to being ruthless. Those illegitimate siblings were never a match for me. Compared to family infighting, I was more worried about the people surrounding her. Diego would still come looking for her from time to time. I blocked him again and again, but he still managed to find opportunities to slip through. I heard that when she went on a trip to the canyon, Diego actually climbed 7 mountains just to find her. Honestly, I panicked. I knew her pride wouldn't let her choose Diego again, but I was still afraid. Afraid she might feel sorry for him. After all, climbing 7 mountains, it was practically suicidal. I rushed over as well, but the moment I stepped off my private plane, I saw her standing there, smiling brightly at me. "Why are you here?" The moment I asked, I felt like an idiot. She smiled and pointed her slender finger to the side. "There's someone I don't like who got injured from climbing. He's being treated." I didn't want to be guilt-tripped. I dropped everything to come here. "Aren't you afraid I'll guilt-trip you?" "Not really. I don't have much of a conscience." "That's great. This is the smile that should be on Natalie's face. Proud, a little spoiled, bright and carefree. My Natalie should never have to suffer.